Come on, y'all, stop playing with me. Stop playing with me for real. Y'all better watch these videos. Y'all ain't paying attention. They shooting so many shots from all over the court, you don't know who to guard. You don't know what's real and what's bullshit. I'm trying to help you out. Now, do you remember when I said this?
So we have had a lot of people up in arms about the picks that Donald Trump has been making for his cabinet. But I want to remind everyone what has really happened in the past. These could be just the people that have given him the most attention, that are the most loyal, and have paid their way into his cabinet. In other words, the throwaways.
Tell us, Vivek, what happened with Doge?
Yeah,
Like,
so
did
Well,
you-
congratulations on the job.
thank you, man.
Well,
I
you don't have
appreciate
it anymore.
Yeah, it's not my job right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Well,
running
sorry,
for.
I take that back then.
I'm
So
moving
what
on to my
happened?
next
Did you get pushed
next
out?
frontier.
Did you get fired? Like, what?
No,
did you leave?
it was a slightly different vision.
And you know, I'm not even paying attention too hard. It's just too easy to call. Anything that's going to save their butts from losing money or losing business, they're going to do, or to remain in power. And it's all been done before. Like this.
The Ontario government is in the process of canceling a $100 million deal with Starlink, Elon Musk's company. Now, I am saying in the process because there is so much breaking news right now that it's hard to record anything without thinking this video may be out of date by the time I upload it. Because Donald Trump and Mexico, or I should say the US and Mexico, have just reached a deal to pause tariffs for a month while a deal is negotiated. Now, is Canada next? Possibly. So there's a great breakdown here of the timeline from America's Lounge Singer, Krang here, showing first this from the first Donald Trump signs an order imposing tariffs on imports from Mexico, Canada, and China with a pledge for more if they retaliate. 2 days later, Wall Street drops as Trump's tariffs hit markets worldwide. The Dow down 550 points. Followed by this, Trump says he will hold talks with Canada and Mexico tomorrow regarding tariffs.
I don't want to have to go back and pull up the old video where I told you all about Starlink back in the day when he said he was going to cut Starlink off for Ukraine and Russia because he didn't want to be playing politics in the middle of it. I ain't going to tell y'all, you know, about how we shouldn't pay attention to these scare tactics with the tariffs and stuff because he's done this before. And when the stuff hits the fan, he always picks a floozy to fire. I remember his first administration, how many people he went through the first 3 months? Highest turnover rate of any president in history. So pay attention to the things that are going to hurt them personally in their personal business. I'm talking about Elon, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Trump, his whole entire family. Pay attention to the foreign affairs, the way they conduct business, and the way it intertwines with their personal business. It's too easy to call. The point is, what are we going to do about it? It's going to be very hard to stop them from ripping through your hard-earned 401k money and with this new Doge, and for a full court press to put people's money from their savings of 401ks toward meme stocks. Now, you're going to have to agree to do that, but they're going to make it very convincing for you, like they always do. But in the end, you're going to be left holding the bag of worthless stock. Pay attention, folks.
To be like comforting the nation. He was swearing from the podium. He also rambled and ad-lib riffed on what the crash looked like to him and what it was like for him to watch the video of it. He scoffed at the idea that he would go pay his respects at the crash site, which after all is just minutes from where he lives. He said, quote, "You tell me, what's the site? The water? You want me to go swimming?" He also today, at length, blamed the plane crash on diversity. Diversity hiring. Literally, at the moment, bodies were still being pulled out of the frozen Potomac River. He was insisting that there must be something about this that can be blamed on non-white people having jobs. Right? Said it was just common sense.
Give it up, we're going to have a repeat. I don't know why she's wasting her breath on trying to state the fact that Trump does not have a moral compass. His wife is buried in the weeds on the back 9 of his property.
See the press conference this morning from Trump's newly confirmed Secretary of Transportation. Here was the very end of that press conference. Here's how that one wrapped up.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there an acting FAA director?
And he just walks away. Question from the reporter there, you can hear it pretty clearly. Is there an acting FAA director? And you might think that there is an FAA director, right? Because there's this guy there at the press conference in the black jacket, the guy with the brush cut. When he turns around and walks away, you can see a big FAA printed on the back of his jacket. Despite appearances, though, that is not the FAA director. That is Trump's newly appointed, newly confirmed U.S. Secretary of Transportation, who also was plucked from the elite ranks at the tippy top of the meritocratic pyramid in this country, by which I mean he, too, was picked off of TV. Like Trump's defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, Trump's transportation secretary, Sean Duffy, also demonstrated his competence for this cabinet position by co-hosting a weekend show on Fox.
The throwaways, like I told you.
Has been forced out of the agency after he resisted a demand by Elon Musk and his associates at Doge to gain access to the government's vast payment system, which disperses trillions of dollars in federal payments each year. Trump's new Treasury Secretary, the billionaire Scott Bessent, ended up giving Musk access to the system, which includes sensitive information about taxpayers, Social Security recipients, government contractors, including Musk's rivals. Musk is also accused of waging a takeover at the Office of Personnel Management, where career civil servants have been locked out of computer systems.
Because when the big boys get busted taking all this information from the Department of Treasury to suppress their enemies, we need some floozies to throw away. This is the real news. We can't have a legitimate FFA director in the House that has already sanctioned Elon's companies. I could very well testify in court against him to allow the companies to be fined to the tune of millions and millions of dollars. So you had to fire that boy. You know that. That's why Trump had to fire Jack Smith, Fani Willis. Come on, man. Why are we acting like we don't know what the hell is going on? The point is, what can we do about it? That's the point. You have any idea what has happened in the past in history during situations just like these? Please, somebody tell me. Tell me you know something.
So, Matt, this isn't the first time a Mexican president has sent troops to the border after a tariff threat. So what's different this time around?
Yeah, you know, if all this seems familiar, it's because it's happened before. Go back to 2019 when we saw really the first significant surge in numbers of migrants approaching the southwest border. Trump back then threatened tariffs, had a phone call with the then Mexican president, Lopez Obrador, and a short time later, 15,000 National Guard troops were sent to the border. Fast forward to 2021, same conversation with the Biden administration. Here with Mexico again, more troops were sent, and the same thing is now happening once again at the border. I should note the main difference now is that the numbers are already largely under control at the border. The National Guard is already deployed throughout Mexico for migration enforcement. So that is nothing new. The new thing is that both Presidents Trump and Sheinbaum said that these troops are going to be used at the border to try and stop the flow of fentanyl going north, which is a massive problem. But I can tell you, having spent time with the cartels, watching some of this smuggling that has happened there at the border, they are supremely confident that these National Guard troops won't impact their business hardly at all.